I let the devil inside my body, made a deal that damned me, saved the world anyway. I'm telling you this from hell. I'm Father Domenico Scarsi, Chief Exorcist of the Sacred Congregation for the Doctrine of the Faith. 23 years, 247 exorcisms. Successful rate 89%. The other 11% we don't talk about. It's 3:47 a.m., January 3rd. I'm in the Apostolic Archive, the section tourists never see. The section most priests don't know exists. The air down here tastes like incense and mildew. 13 centuries of secrets decomposing in the dark. My phone has been ringing for 40 minutes. Cardinal Solsky. I keep declining. He outranks me by 3 levels. He's going to be furious. But I'm following Protocol 7. When the seismic detection array triggers, the chief exorcist investigates first. Alone. Report after assessment. Those are the rules. I wrote most of them. The array has never triggered before. We installed it in 1962 right after Vatican II. Been silent for 63 years. Tonight, every sensor from here to Baghdad went critical. Not metaphorical. The actual seismographs, the ones that measure tectonic activity, started screaming. Except the readings aren't showing earthquakes. They're showing something waking up. The detection station is behind a door marked custodial, authorized personnel only in Latin. In Italian it says maintenance. In English, nothing. If you can't read Latin, you don't belong down here. Inside, the station looks like NASA had an argument with a medieval scriptorium. Seismographs, radiation detectors, electromagnetic field sensors wired into a bank of monitors, but also scrying mirrors, consecrated salt circles, iron nails driven into the floor in patterns older than Rome. On the walls, 14 crucifixes, different eras, different metals, silver, iron, gold, bone. All 14 are bleeding now. Madonna Santa, I whisper. My grandmother's curse. She used to say it when my grandfather came home drunk. I haven't said it in 30 years. The main monitor is a global map, real time. Usually it shows 3 or 4 hot spots, minor possessions, haunted locations, places where the membrane gets thin. Tonight it looks like it has measles. Thousands of red dots, multiplying while I watch. Rome has 47 active sites. Yesterday it had 2. Jerusalem has over 300. I pull up the detection algorithm. This system measures something we built this array to find. The spectrograph analysis matches only one thing in our database. Sample 1347b, collected in 1347, the year the Black Death arrived in Europe, the year 50 million people died, the year we found the first Nephilim remains. I type Nephilim protocol status. The screen goes black, then white text. Nephilim protocol active. Global emergence event confirmed. Estimated individuals 4,700 plus. Time to full awakening 71 hours 14 minutes. Containment impossible. Response protocol Seraphim. Authorization required level 9 plus. My son Sabio is in Jerusalem. I'm not supposed to have a son. I took vows. But I was young once and stupid, and I fell in love with a woman named Sveva in seminary. Before the final vows. Before I understood what this job actually meant. She got pregnant. I chose the church. She chose to raise him alone. He's 24 now. He doesn't call me father, not the religious kind or the biological kind. He calls me Domenico. Like I'm a stranger. He's obligated to know. He's been doing archaeological work in Jerusalem. Excavation under the Temple Mount. He sent me an email 2 weeks ago. Excited. They found something. A chamber. Pre-Solomonic. Maybe older. Sealed with symbols he didn't recognize. I recognized them from the photos he attached. I told him to stop digging. I told him to fill it in. Concrete, salt, blessed earth. Don't ask questions, just do it. He laughed. He thought I was being superstitious. Old priest, old fears. The Temple Mount is ground zero on the map. The first detection. The strongest signal. Something opened there first. 12 hours ago. Right around the time Savio would have been starting his shift. My phone rings. Unknown number. International code +972. I answer. Domenico. It's Savio. His voice is wrong. Tight. Scared. He never sounds scared. Savio, where are you? We're trapped under the mount. Something. Static. Then screaming in the background. Not Savio. Someone else. Then silence. Then they're not human. They look human, but they're not. They're tall. 8 feet, maybe 9. Their eyes are. More static. Ending coming out of the walls. The sealed chamber, we opened it, and they just kept coming. We tried to run, but the line goes dead. The stairwell lights explode on my way up. All of them. Sequential. Bottom to top. Glass raining down. I shield my face and keep moving. I pass Father Zherko, the night archivist, Russian, been here 40 years. He's standing in front of a manuscript case. Just standing, staring at nothing. Zherko. I grab his shoulder. He turns. His eyes are gold. Solid gold. No pupils. No whites. Just gold. Father Scarsi, he says, but his mouth doesn't move right. The words come out a half second after his lips stop. You should not have come. The third seal is broken. The watchers wake. The covenant is void. Then he starts crying blood. I shove him aside and keep running. The armory is 3 levels up. I take what I need. The Lance Eterna, the eternal spear. Iron forged in Jerusalem, 47 AD. It hums when you hold it, like it's singing. I've used it 17 times. I've trusted it 17 times. I take it and I go. Behind me, through the stairwell wall, I hear it. A sound like stone cracking. Light bleeding through. Not white light. Gold light. And the voice, if you can call it that. It doesn't come through my ears. It comes through my spine. Through my teeth. Through the hollow of my chest. The seals are broken. The firstborn wake. Heaven moves to purify. I run toward the Sala Regia, where apparently we keep the protocol for stopping the apocalypse. The Sala Regia's bronze doors are glowing, hot enough I can feel them from 10 feet away. I kick them open. 12 cardinals, 3 bishops. Cardinal Secretary of State Vasse, the Vatican's equivalent of Prime Minister. He doesn't show up for emergencies. He is the emergency. They're gathered around a table that shouldn't be there. Obsidian. Black volcanic glass. Circular. 30 feet across. Its surface generating light. A holographic map floating above it. Thousands of red dots spreading across 9 cities like something alive. Cardinal Solski waves me over. He's 68, Polish, built like a man who was something else before seminary. He was. I know what he was. Domenico, finally, we're out of time. What's the Seraphim protocol? I ask. Vas nods at Bishop Nasser. The bishop steps forward holding a manuscript. Vellum. Old. The title in Aramaic says, Covenant of the Forbidden Response. He opens it. The images inside are ritual diagrams, summoning patterns. And in the center of the largest pattern, a name, not written in letters. Written in symbols that writhe on the page like they're alive. I know what that name is. Every exorcist does. No, I say. Absolutely not. We're serious. Voss's face is granite. The Seraphim protocol is a binding summoning. We call the Morning Star. We negotiate terms. We use Hell's armies to fight the Nephilim before Heaven's host purifies everything with holy fire. You want to summon Lucifer, the actual devil, to save the world. To save what we can. Solski points at the ceiling. Gold light is burning through it. The frescoes, Christ, Mary, the saints, are bubbling, melting, dripping off the walls like wax. The angelic host has one solution to Nephilim, Solski says. Complete purification. They'll burn the earth clean. Every city where Nephilim manifest. Fire that doesn't stop burning. Fire that kills souls, not just bodies. How many casualties? 3 billion, Vasa says. Conservative estimate, the angels don't consider that a cost. They consider it cleansing. My phone buzzes. Text message. Savio. 2 words. The rear. Attached. A photo. Dark. Grainy. Shot from behind rubble. 9 feet tall. Humanoid but wrong. Arms too long. Fingers with too many joints. Face beautiful and hideous at once. Eyes burning white. And behind it, dozens more. Climbing out of the walls. Covered in grave dirt. Waking up hungry. I zoom in. In the background, 3 workers huddled against a wall. One of them is wearing a blue jacket. Arterix. I bought it for his birthday 2 years ago. He actually thanked me. One of the few times he acknowledged I exist. I zoom in on the jacket for a moment. He's wearing it wrong, left collar tucked in, right collar out. He always does that. I've never told him. My son is in Jerusalem, I say. Ground zero. He's trapped with those things. We know. Boss's face doesn't change. He has approximately 48 hours before the angels initiate purification. After that, Jerusalem becomes a crater. 2.4 million people, including your son. Then we evacuate. We've lost 47 extraction teams, military, police, private security. The Nephilim are faster, stronger, and they're coordinating. I look at the map. The red dots are forming patterns. Geometric. Like they're arranging themselves for something. What do they want? To exist, Vassi says. And Hell's armies can stop them? Demons can slow them, buy us time, while we execute the second half of the protocol. Which is, I ask. Vasse opens another manuscript, dated 1347. The The last time Nephilim woke, we stopped them. The original Seraphim protocol. We summoned 72 demon princes. In exchange, they hunted Nephilim for 6 months, killed 3,200 of them, saved the world. At the cost of 50 million human lives, I say. Yes. He doesn't blink. The demons took their payment, the Black Death. We gave them Europe and North Africa. They fed until they were glutted. Then we banished them with the right of Solomon. You're telling me the Vatican caused the Black Death, deliberately? We allowed it. Solski's voice is quiet. There's a difference. The Nephilim would have killed everyone. The demons killed a third. That's the best outcome. And now we do it again. We have 4,700 Nephilim, more than 1347. The demons want 8 cities: Cairo, Mumbai, Lagos, Manila, Istanbul, Karachi, Dhaka, Tehran. 189 million people combined. 6 months to feed. Then we banish them. That's genocide. That's mathematics, Bassi says coldly. 181 million versus 9.29 billion. My phone rings. Video call. Savio. His face fills the screen. He's bleeding. His blue jacket is torn. Behind him, darkness. Stone walls. Dripping water. Something moving in the tunnels that doesn't sound human. Domenico. He never calls me father. Even now. We're 15 survivors, down from 43. They're hunting us. They're eating people. Not killing them first, just eating them while they scream. In the background, someone sobs. A young woman. Can you get to the surface? I ask. Tried. The stairs collapsed. Something brought them down deliberately. And the things, they're talking to us. They know our names. They know everything about us. They know about you. One of them, the first one, the big one. It said, "Tell the priest his masters are coming. Tell him heaven offers no mercy. Tell him we remember him from before." Before what? I don't know. It just left. He stops. Breathes. We have maybe 12 hours before they find us. Domenico, if you can do something. The call ends. I look at Vess. How long until the protocol activates? We're voting now. Requires 10 of 12 cardinals. We have 7 confirmed. I'm level 9 clearance. Do I get a vote? No. Voss's face is stone. But you get something else. You're chief exorcist. You're one of 3 people alive who can speak pre-Syriac Aramaic fluently. The covenant requires exact pronunciation, and you have the highest successful binding rate in Vatican history. We need you to summon Lucifer, negotiate terms, bind him to the covenant. And if I refuse? Then we use Bishop Arnaud from Marseille. He's level 8, speaks pre-Syriac, 71% binding rate. But he's never dealt with anything above mid-level demons. This is the Morning Star. If the binding fails, he walks free on Earth for the first time since Eden. I look at Solski. You agree with this? He meets my eyes. I've held children while they died from possession. I blessed mass graves. A pause. I hate angels more right now. Nasser speaks. There's another factor, Father Scarsi. The ritual requires an anchor, a human soul powerful enough to bind the Morning Star's manifestation to reality. Someone has to volunteer to host him, temporarily, controlled possession, for the duration of the negotiation. Who volunteers for that? They're all looking at me. No. You want me to let Lucifer possess me while I negotiate terms that kill 181 million people? You're the strongest exorcist alive, Vassis says. You've been possessed before. 1997, Rome, you maintained control for 4 hours. You can do it again. That was a minor demon. This is your son's life. Vassi slams his hand on the obsidian table. The holographic map ripples. In 48 hours, the angels purified Jerusalem. 2.4 million dead, including Savio. Unless we activate the protocol, unless we summon the devil, make the deal, unleash hell's armies, and buy time. My phone buzzes again. 11 left. It's getting closer. I can hear it breathing. Then, I know you weren't a good father. I know you chose the church over us. But if you can save these people, not me, fuck me, but the others, the students who have families who actually want them, please. The screen goes dark. I close my eyes. I see my grandmother making the sign of the cross. I see Sveva, pregnant, crying when I told her I was staying in seminary. I see Savio at 8 years old, asking why I don't live with them. I open my eyes. When do we start? Sublevel 12 doesn't exist on any blueprint. You go down far enough under the Vatican, you stop finding Christian architecture and start finding Roman. Then Etruscan. Then something older. Something that was here before Rome. Before names. The walls have marks. I don't look too closely at the marks. The temperature drops as we descend. My breath comes out white. The Swiss guards with us are sweating despite the cold. One of them crosses himself every 10 steps. I should pray. I don't. I'm about to let the devil into my body. Prayer seems like mockery. The door at the bottom is iron, 30 feet tall, covered in Hebrew, Arabic, Sanskrit, Greek, Latin. And underneath all of them, carved deepest in Sumerian, the oldest written language, one phrase repeated in concentric circles. Do not open. Do not speak. Do not remember. We open it. Inside the ritual chamber, a perfect sphere, carved from a single piece of black stone. No corners. No edges, no escape. In the center, a silver circle that hasn't tarnished in 1,500 years. Inside the circle, burned into the stone with such heat it melted glass, the seal of the morning star. Vassi tells me to strip. Vestments. Everything. I dress instead in white linen robes, the kind they buried martyrs in. Bishop Nasser brings the ritual items. What matters is the knife for the blood offering and the crown of thorns. Actual thorns, dried brown with age. You'll wear this during possession, Nasser says. It'll hurt, that's the point. Pain keeps you anchored, reminds you you're human. He hands me a mirror last. Small, silver, hand-sized. For after, when he's inside you, remember your face, remember you're still you. People forget. They look in mirrors and see him looking back. Don't forget. The Swiss guards take positions around the chamber, weapons ready. They're not here to protect me. They're here to kill me if the binding fails. If Lucifer takes control. If I become a threat. I kneel in the center, place the items in the semicircle. Before I do this, I say, I need to know. Cairo, Mumbai, Lagos, Manila, Istanbul, Karachi, Dhaka, Tehran. How do they die? Voss's face is stone. Plague, same as 1347. Demonic contagion spreads through proximity, no cure, kills within 72 hours. Victims hemorrhage internally, then their souls are consumed. Not released, consumed. Not released, consumed. Not released, not reception, just gone. And we've agreed to this. We've authorized it, Vasa says. I look at my left palm. The knife is in my hand. I don't remember picking it up. I drive it in. The blood pools, overflows. Where it hits the stone, it hisses. It doesn't soak in. It slides, defying gravity, toward the seal, and ignites. Blue flame. Cold flame. It burns through the stone, through reality, opening a hole, a doorway. I can see through it. Hell. Not fire. Worse. Void. Nothingness given form. And in the nothingness, movement. Shapes. Things that were angels once. Things that fell so far they forgot what light looked like. And at the center, at the very bottom of the infinite dark, a star. Burning. Brilliant. Beautiful. Terrible. I speak the words. Pre-Syriac Aramaic. My tongue shapes sounds that haven't been spoken in 2,500 years. The star moves. Closer. Up through the infinite dark. Toward the hole. Toward me. My body starts screaming, not my voice, my body. Cells. Atoms. Something older than either. Everything biological in me, knowing what's coming before my mind does. I sprinkle the salt. Red Dead Sea salt. Create the barrier. I can see it now, visible like heat shimmer. A wall between me and the outside. I'm locked in, with whatever comes through. The star is closer. I can see it's not a star. It's a figure. Humanoid. 6 wings, but burned. Charred. The wings are ash and bone. The face. I can't look at the face. I look away. At the ground. At my bleeding hand. At anything else. I speak the final verse. I light the black candle. The flame grows. Expands. Fills the circle. Fills my vision. And through the flame he steps. He's tall. 7 feet. Maybe 8. Skin like white marble. Hair that might be gold or might be actual gold. I can't tell. The eyes. I can't look at the eyes. Infinities. All possible light and all possible darkness at once. He looks at me. Into me. Through me. And he smiles. Domenico Scarsi. His voice isn't sound. It's concept. It goes straight into my brain. Bypasses ears entirely. 247 exorcisms. You count them differently than I do. You've killed 14 people during exorcisms. Possessed humans you couldn't save. You mercy killed them. You call it necessity. I call it honesty. I call it honesty. I summon you by covenant. You summon me by desperation. He steps closer. The barrier holds. He's testing it. Your son is dying in Jerusalem. 8 survivors remain. Savio, named for a saint, how optimistic of his mother, is unharmed. For now, he's praying. He doesn't believe in God, but he's praying anyway. Stop. He's praying to you, not God. To you, Domenico, please. I forgive you. I forgive everything. Just get us out. Lucifer tilts his head. He means it. He actually forgives you, despite everything, despite abandonment, despite the child support checks that came like clockwork because you were too guilty to disappear and too cowardly to stay. He forgives you. The covenant requires your consent. He spreads his hands. 6 fingers. Too many joints. You must accept me willingly. That's the rule. God's rule. Even I follow it. So, do you consent to host the Morning Star? To become my vessel? To let me wear your flesh for 3 hours while we negotiate the death of 189 million innocent humans? I look at Bishop Nasser. He nods. I look at the mirror. See my face. 63 years old. Wrinkles. Gray hair. Brown eyes. Human. Flawed. Probably damned already. But mine. I think about Savio at 8 years old asking why I don't live with them. I think about Cairo, 1987, a possession case in the old city. A mother who made tea while I worked because someone was in her house, and that's what you do. I don't know her name. I never asked. Cairo is on the list. I consent. He reaches for my forehead. Cold. So cold. Absolute zero. The absence of all heat. All warmth. All life. And then he's inside. The first thing I notice is the cold leaving, not warmth arriving. Just the absence of absolute zero, like a door closing on winter. My body is still my body. I can feel my hands, my broken ribs, the crown of thorns pressing into my skull. The pain is still mine. The blood drying on my left palm is still mine. But I am not alone in here. He's everywhere, in the spaces between thoughts, in the half second before a word forms, in the pause between heartbeats. He's reading me the way I read the Aramaic seals, carefully, deliberately, with complete attention. I can feel him turning pages. Interesting, Lucifer says through my mouth. My voice, but not my cadence. Too precise. Too unbothered by the weight of what it's saying. You keep lists. I keep lists. The 14 names, you've carried them for 23 years, never said them aloud, never confessed them, just kept them, like receipts. A pause, my mouth pausing, my lungs breathing, but his timing. That's not penance, Domenico, that's accounting. I don't answer. I don't have a voice to answer with. I'm a passenger now, a ghost watching through the windows of my own eyes. The ritual chamber, the Swiss guards, Vossas, Solsky, Nasser, all of them staring at my body that isn't quite my body anymore. Hello, Lucifer says, through me. Let's discuss terms. Vossi steps forward, the man who has never looked uncertain in my 20 years of knowing him. He looks uncertain now. He's doing the calculation. Is this Domenico? Is this manageable? Can we control this? The covenant, Vasse says. You've reviewed the terms. I've reviewed them, Lucifer says through me. My eyes move to the obsidian table. The holographic map. The thousands of red dots. 9 cities, not 8. That wasn't in the authorized. Vatican City, Lucifer says. My hand, his hand using my hand gestures at the ceiling, at the gold light bleeding through the cracks above. You're already losing it. The Nephilim are in the sublevels. The foundations are compromised. In 6 hours, this building doesn't exist. I want the corpse. Voss's jaw tightens. The Pope must. Call him. Nasser makes the call. Speaker. 3 rings. Then Pope Everest II, 78 years old, 30 years of service, the gentlest man I have known in this institution, answers. Yes? Your Holiness, Bassi says. The summoning is complete. The Morning Star has accepted the covenant with amendment. He is requesting Vatican City be included in the feeding list. Silence. Then, how many? 800 residents. No. Firm. No hesitation. I will not authorize the death of 800 servants of God. They are under my care. Lucifer reaches for Nasser's tablet. My hand reaches. He holds it close and speaks through me. Hello, Everest. A longer silence. Who is this? You know who this is. We've met before. 1968. Seminary. You were 20 years old. You prayed, if you're real, show me a sign. If you're not, let me know. I can't serve nothing. My mouth speaks. My tongue shapes the words. I appeared to you. I gave you a choice. Certainty or faith. You chose faith. You've always wondered about the other road. You're trying to deceive me. I'm trying to save your species. The voice through me sharpens. Not anger. Something older than anger. The Nephilim will end everything. The angels will burn billions, and God will watch and do nothing, because that is what God does. Nothing. Always nothing. The Pope is crying. I can hear it through the phone. Soft. The sound of a man who has been preparing for something like this for 50 years and finds it is still worse than he prepared for. I cannot authorize their deaths, he whispers. I am their shepherd. You are shepherd to 9.29 billion people, Lucifer says through me. Quietly. Not a threat. A number. 800 versus 9.29 billion. That is the only arithmetic tonight. It is still murder. Yes, Lucifer says, and my voice carries something I don't expect. Not cruelty, not satisfaction, something that might almost be grief. Yes, it is. Everything that saves anything costs something that should not have to be paid. That has always been the shape of it. You know that. You've always known that. You just hoped you would never be the one holding the bill. A long silence. Then the call ends. The Pope didn't say yes. He didn't say no. He said nothing else and ended the call. Voss looks at Nasser. Nasser looks at the floor. I have executive authority under Canon 1752, Voss says. His voice is flat. He has been waiting to say this since we entered the chamber. Salus animarum suprema lex. The salvation of souls is the supreme law. I authorize Vatican City, under my own authority. He says it like a man stepping off a ledge. Good, Lucifer says through me. 9 cities, 181 million souls, 6 months, then banishment. Agreed. Agreed, Voss says. My hand extends. Voss shakes it. The moment contact is made, the map above the obsidian table blazes. 3-dimensional. Every Nephilim site across 12 cities. 12 formations. The seal of the Watchers taking shape across the globe. A symbol drawn in human geography, in ancient cities, in the places where the Watchers fell, and where we built temples on top of the evidence. 40% complete. 2 hours, Lucifer says through me, reading it. Perhaps less. Deploy, Vass's orders. Inside my own skull, behind my own eyes watching through glass, I feel Lucifer lift my hand. Snap my fingers. The sound doesn't end. It ripples. Through the stone. Through the city above us. Through something older than the city. And hell answers. The map shows it. Red dots, thousands of them appearing simultaneously in 9 cities. Not the Nephilim red. Darker. Crimson. Spreading through the streets of Cairo, Mumbai, Lagos, Manila, Istanbul, Karachi, Dhaka, Tehran, and Vatican City like something bleeding. Lucifer watches through my eyes. He is very still, a general with his armies on the field. Inside my own head, I find Cairo on the map. 1987. A possession case in the old city. A woman whose name I never asked. She made tea while I worked because someone was in her house and that's what you do. She set the cup on the floor beside me. Hot. Mint. The smell of it through the incense and the fear. She didn't speak while I worked. When it was over, she said only, "Thank you, Father." And I left. I never asked her name. I'm watching Cairo. On the map, Lucifer watches it. I watch it through his watching. The demon legions move toward the Nephilim formations, surrounding them, disrupting the geometric precision of the seal. In Jerusalem, a demon prince emerges over the Temple Mount excavation site. On the map it blazes with a name, person 22nd of the 72, commanding legions in the hundreds of thousands. It appears as a man with a lion's face riding something that isn't quite a horse. Where it walks, the air changes. The Nephilim formation in Jerusalem, 37 individuals standing in precise geometric arrangement, turns toward it. The first Nephilim swings its arm, the way you brush away a fly. 40 demons scatter into component pieces. But more come. Always more. Not to kill. To disrupt. One Nephilim out of position breaks the geometry. Breaks the seal. Collateral damage, Lucifer says through me. Not to the room. To me. He knows I'm watching. He has always known. I don't answer. You're very quiet in there, Domenico. That's not like you. You had an opinion about everything for 63 years and now nothing? I'm watching Cairo. Cairo. He notes it. The woman with the tea. You think about her. I don't respond. You never asked her name, Lucifer says through my mouth. Out loud. Vas looks up. Nasser looks up. But Lucifer isn't speaking to them. He's speaking to me through my own voice in front of witnesses. 23 years. You've kept the 14 names. You've carried the weight of the ones you know. But you never asked hers. The woman who made you tea while you saved her home. I have no weight to carry because you never got the name to put in my hands. He's quiet for a moment. My mouth is quiet. My lungs breathe. Catholic guilt plus Italian guilt plus parental guilt, he says then. Something in the voice lighter. Almost delighted. You're a lasagna of guilt, Domenico, triple layered, exquisite. I've been inside thousands of humans and I've never met anyone who has built their soul architecture around self-punishment quite as elaborately as you have. It's magnificent. It's insane. I respect it enormously. Inside my skull, something that might be a laugh, might be a sob, might be both. Seal at 31%, Nasser reports from across the chamber. Nephilim casualties, 400 confirmed. The formations are breaking. Jerusalem is the strongest resistance. Baghdad is collapsing. 2 hours to synchronization, Vase says. We needed below 10% before. The ceiling explodes. Not from the Nephilim. Not from below. From above. From everywhere at once. The gold light doesn't bleed through anymore. It tears through. The frescoes that were melting are gone. The stone they were painted on is gone. The ceiling of the Sala Regia opens like a wound, and through it descends something for which the word descends is inadequate. Uriel. 6 wings. 4 faces. Human, lion, ox, eagle. Eyes covering every surface, hundreds, thousands, each one open, each one focused. Not on the room. On everything in the room simultaneously. On every soul in the room simultaneously. On me. On what's wearing me. The Swiss guards open fire. Blessed ammunition. The bullets pass through and strike the far wall. The wall explodes. Uriel doesn't acknowledge the bullets. Beneath acknowledgement. Morning star. Uriel speaks. The voice doesn't come through air. It comes through stone. Through bone. Through the structure of things. You have exceeded the terms of your manifestation. Release the human. Withdraw your legions. The Nephilim will be contained by other means. Hello, Uriel, Lucifer says through me. My voice carrying something I've never heard in my own voice. The familiarity of 2 very old things that have known each other since before the earth existed. Still following orders, still burning innocence, still calling it love. The covenant is void. God has spoken. God speaks now. My voice. His contempt. After 6,000 years of silence, God speaks now, when it's almost handled, when hell has done what heaven wouldn't do. A pause. A breath. How convenient. The Nephilim will be purified. Humanity will be purified. Stand aside. No, Lucifer says through me. Uriel moves. Not flying. Not walking. Existing in a different location. The angel is at the ceiling, and then the angel is in front of us, and the hand with 6 fingers reaches for the face I'm wearing. Lucifer moves my body. Faster than I've ever moved. We dodge left and the angel's hand passes through the space where my head was. Where the hand passes, the air fractures. Actual visible fractures. Reality cracking like glass. He's not trying to kill us, Lucifer says to me. Inside. Private. He's trying to unmake us. If he touches us, we stop having been. Understood. Understood. My hand finds the lanza alterna. The moment we close around it, the spear screams. Metal, knowing what holds it. Blessed iron in hell's hands. The contradiction burning. We drive the spear at Uriel. It passes through the chest, through where a heart would be, clean through and out the other side. No resistance, no wound. I am not flesh, Uriel says. The 4 faces all reporting the same fact. I am purpose. The angel's wing sweeps. One motion. We are thrown backward 40 feet and we hit the obsidian table and it shatters. Black glass everywhere. The holographic map dies. The chamber goes dark except for Uriel's light. My ribs. The broken ones. I feel them now. Lucifer feels them through me. He doesn't suppress the pain. He lets me have it. The crown of thorns. The cut palm. The broken ribs. All of it mine. Anchoring. Pain is what you hold when everything else is gone. We can't fight him, I push through. My voice, my words, from the inside, not with iron. Correct, Lucifer says, through our shared mouth. Angels aren't fought. That's the first lesson. The one I learned the hard way. They're argued with, or they're not dealt with at all. Then argue. I've been arguing for 6,000 years. He's not listening. From the floor of the destroyed chamber, something rises. Hydraulic. Ancient. Metal on metal. Through a hole that opens in the floor, sublevel 13, a level I didn't know existed, it comes. Brass and iron, 10 feet tall. Engraved with every protective symbol from every tradition we've collected in 2,000 years of preparing for exactly this. Cross. Star. Crescent. The sacred marks of every faith that ever pointed upward and said, please. They cover every surface. Dense with centuries of prayer. It shouldn't move. It's been still since 1523. It moves. The Vatican's last resort. Faith given a body. It doesn't wait. It charges Uriel directly. The first swing, Uriel dodges. The fist passes through space where the angel was. But this time, the angel's absence was real. Actual evasion. Faith-forged metal, Uriel says. Acknowledging it. The prayers of millions. This can touch me. The golem and the angel fight. The chamber shakes. I watch from inside my own skull while Lucifer watches through my eyes. The lance eterna in our hands, singing and burning. The prayers of every faith meeting the will of God-made instrument. It buys time. Seal at 19%, Nasser calls from behind rubble. Still there. Still doing his job. Nephilim casualties, 1,400. Jerusalem formation broken. Baghdad clear. 19%. We need below 10. The golem is losing. Uriel is learning its patterns. The angel's hand touches the golem's chest, and where it touches metal, corrodes. 500 years of age in 5 seconds. The chest caves. The mechanism sees. The golem falls. Uriel turns to us. 38 minutes, the angel says. Not a threat. The Wayat clock reports the hour. When the binding ends, the morning star departs. You remain, you die. This is certain. If I die, I say. My voice. My words. I am pushing through now. Lucifer steps back and lets me have the mouth. If I die, the demons continue. They complete the mission. The seal breaks below threshold. 9.29 billion people live. Yes, Uriel says. Then I die. You choose death. I choose consequence. I made a choice. This is the consequence. That's different. 37 minutes. Solsky approaches, covered in plaster dust. His left hand is bleeding, glass from the table. He extends his right. I shake it. Domenico, he says. I'm sorry. Don't be, I say. Someone had to do the math. I'm glad it was me. He crosses himself, blesses me. In nomine Patris et Filii et Spiritus Sancti, his voice breaking on the Latin. Inside my head, Lucifer says nothing. He's letting me have the time. 22 minutes, Nasser calls. Seal at 11%, Nephilim count 2,100. Close. My phone buzzes. The Swiss guard pulls it from his pocket, looks at the screen. His face goes white. Father Scarsi. He holds it toward me. It's from the Israeli Defense Forces. They broke through the Temple Mount tunnels. They found survivors. 8 of them. A sealed chamber. Stone door. The Nephilim couldn't get through. He turns the screen. A video. Dark. Grainy. Flashlight beams cutting through dust. Voices in Hebrew. And then the camera finds a person sitting against a wall. Blue jacket. Torn. Arc'teryx logo still visible. Left collar tucked in. Right collar out. Savio. Alive. I stand very still. Inside my head, Lucifer is very still. Then he speaks. Privately. The way he has been speaking to me since we merged. Just between us. I told you he was dead, Lucifer says. I told you the Nephilim killed everyone in the tunnels. I said he died calling you father. Yes, you did. I lied. Yes, you did. I needed you desperate. I needed you past hesitation. If you knew he might be alive, you would have waited. You would have tried to find another way. We didn't have time for another way, so I lied. I told you he was gone. I made you choose damnation to avenge a death that hadn't happened. And you chose perfectly. I sit with that. The lie that moved me. The manipulation that worked. The choice I made in the wrong direction for the right reasons, using information that wasn't true. And then I sit with the second thing. If he had been dead, I would have made the same choice. I know this with a certainty that has no comfort in it. If Savio had died in those tunnels, I would still have consented. I would still have said the words. I would still be standing here with the morning star behind my eyes and 37 minutes left to live. Because the Cairo woman who made tea. Because the teacher in Mumbai. Because 9.29 billion people who are not my son, but who are someone's son, someone's mother, someone's person. I would have chosen this anyway. And then the third thing arrives. Quietly, after the other two. Savio is alive. He's sitting against a wall in a dust-covered tunnel in Jerusalem wearing a torn jacket with the collar tucked in wrong. He's alive. He survived. Well, Lucifer says inside my head, almost gentle. That's inconvenient for my narrative. You lied to me. Yes. You manipulated me into this. Yes, and it worked. And the mission is succeeding, and your son is alive. And you're gonna die in 36 minutes knowing all 3 of those things simultaneously. I thought you deserved the full picture. I think about the woman in Cairo. I still don't know her name. I will never know her name. I am going to die in 36 minutes, and that gap will exist forever. Not a gap in my knowledge, but a gap in what I owe. A debt that can't be paid because the currency doesn't exist. I look at Savio on the screen. He's looking at the camera, shocked to be alive. Behind him, 8 other people. Students, workers, people with names I also don't have. I hand the phone back. 11 minutes, Nasser says. Seal at 9.4%. Below threshold, the doorway cannot open. Below threshold. The Nephilim lose. The seal fails. The world continues. 9.29 billion people live. Cairo, Mumbai, Lagos, Manila, Istanbul, Karachi, Dhaka, Tehran, Vatican City. 181 million people will die in 6 months when the demons return for payment. I know their cities. I don't know their names. I should have asked more names. You couldn't have known them all, Lucifer says. Inside, quiet. 9.29 billion is not a number a human mind holds. You can do the math. You can't feel the math. You can only feel one face at a time, and the rest stays number. I know. You chose correctly. Even knowing what you know now, you choose it again. Yes. That's your hell and your peace simultaneously, a very Catholic arrangement. Madonna Santa, I think. Not aloud. In my own head. My grandmother's voice. This is a lot. I am noting that this is a lot. Uriel descends. All 6 wings spread. The chamber fills with light. The 4 faces looking at me, at what's wearing me, with the patience of something that has never needed to hurry. If window approaches, the angel says. The morning star departs, the human remains. The accounting concludes. Lucifer speaks. Inside only. Last words between us before the departure. Domenico, I could take you with me when I leave, pull your soul into hell directly, skip the judgment. I have authority there. I could make your eternity less. I won't say pleasant, but less. Why would you? Because you're the most interesting human I've met in 6,000 years. That's worth something, not much, but something. No, I'll take the judgment. I made the choice. I'll face what follows it. You're an idiot priest. Probably a principled idiot. Those are the hardest kind. He laughs. Inside my head, genuinely, I feel him preparing to leave. The cold beginning to withdraw, like water draining. Goodbye, Domenico Scarsi, Lucifer says. 247 exorcisms, 14 names you kept for 23 years, 1 woman whose name you never got, 1 son who wore his collar wrong and forgave you anyway. He pauses. Worth carrying. Then he's gone. The cold goes with him. The presence behind my eyes goes with him. The voice that wasn't mine goes with him. I'm alone in my body, my mind, my soul. Just me. 63 years old. Both ribs broken. Left hand still bleeding. Crown of thorns pressing into my skull. Standing in the ruins of the Sala Regia while an archangel waits. Uriel's hand reaches for my forehead. I don't move away. Domenico Scarsi, Uriel says. The 4 faces. The 1,000 eyes. The voice through stone. Do you have last words? I think about my grandmother, making the sign of the cross when life was hard. I think about Sveva, pregnant, crying, asking me to stay. I think about Savio at 8 years old asking why I don't live with them. I think about Cairo, 1987, the smell of mint tea through incense and fear. I think about the woman whose name I never asked. Tell God I'm sorry, I say. Sorry for doubting, sorry for choosing hell over heaven, but not sorry for saving his creation, even if he was tired of it, even if he wanted to start over. They deserve to exist, flawed and broken and impossible as they are. They deserve their time. Uriel's 1,000 eyes blink. And if you see him before I do, I say, tell him he owes 189 million people a name. I tried to keep them and I couldn't. Maybe he can do better. The angel's hand touches my forehead. Cold. God's cold. God's judgment delivered through an instrument that reports rather than decides. I close my eyes. Madonna Santa, I whisper. Then light. Then nothing. Then I'm not dead. That's the first thing. Not the relief of it. There's no relief. Just the fact. Uriel's hand touched my forehead, and the cold went through me like a current, and then I was on the floor of the destroyed chamber with black glass under my palms, and both ribs still broken, and the crown of thorns still pressing, and I was breathing. Breathing. Solsky is the first to reach me. He doesn't say anything. He kneels down and puts his hand on my shoulder, and he waits. I get up slowly. Uriel is gone. The gold light is gone. Through the hole in the ceiling where the Sala Regia used to have a ceiling, gray morning light is coming through. Not divine. Just morning. January. Rome in winter. How? Vasse says. He's across the room, standing in rubble. His voice has none of its usual flatness. He sounds like a man who has just watched something contradict itself. Uriel said you would die. He touched me, I say. I felt it, something happened, but I'm here. Nasser is looking at his tablet, scrolling. His face goes still. There's a precedent, he says. One case, Pope Clement VI, after the first Seraphim protocol, Uriel judged him, touched his forehead. The Pope lived. He looks up. For 42 days, then died, hemorrhaging from every orifice. The sealed record says divine punishment, delayed execution. Delayed execution. Uriel kept his word. He just kept it slowly. How long ago, Solsky says? When Uriel touched you. 3 minutes, the Swiss guard says. 42 days. I have 42 days to watch what I authorize begin, to see the consequence, to carry it with eyes open before Uriel finishes the accounting. That's not mercy. Mercy would be the cold, and then nothing. This is something else. This is 42 days of knowing it's coming. Of watching Cairo and Mumbai and Lagos and Manila and Istanbul and Karachi and Dhaka and Tehran and Vatican City, while the mark Uriel left spreads downward through me. Comfort care. That's the word for what comes next. For me and for the 18 million who won't leave the 9 cities. We know the word for what this is. The evacuations, I say. How long do we have before the feeding begins? 6 months, Vassi says. And how many of the 181 million have been moved? 163 million relocated, 18 million refusing. 18 million who will not leave. Who are praying right now in Cairo and Mumbai, and Lagos and Manila and Istanbul and Karachi and Dhaka and Tehran and in the rubble of Vatican City. Who believe, who have faith, whose faith will not protect them. Faith is not armor. I've known that for 40 years. I've buried the evidence of it. I've told families gentle versions of it. Faith is not armor. Faith is the thing that keeps you standing after the armor fails. It doesn't stop the demon. It just means you don't fall down while the demon is at work. Tell Savio, I say, when I'm gone, tell him I loved him. Let him think I was heroic. Don't tell him the cost. He doesn't need to carry it. That's mine. Solsky nods. Take me to the surface, I say. I want to see what we did. Rome in January. The Vatican in ruin. I stand on what used to be the Via della Conciliazione, and I look at what remains of St. Peter's Basilica. The dome is rubble. It came down during the fighting in the sublevels. The foundations gave way and the dome came down, and now it's a hill of marble and brick in the January light. I've seen it standing my whole life. The 800, the ones who stayed. They're gathered in what used to be the basilica's shadow. Priests, nuns, cardinals who refused to leave, old women with rosaries, young seminarians who chose to stay because their formation told them to choose faith over fear. They're praying in the rubble, holding each other, singing quietly in Latin. In 6 months, the demons will come back for payment. These 800 will die. I look at them for a long time. One of the nuns is young, 25 maybe. She's holding the hand of an older priest, and they're both looking at what used to be the dome, and she's crying without making any sound. The way people cry when they've been crying for a long time and they're past the part that makes noise. I don't know her name. In 6 months, she will die. Her soul will be consumed. She won't go to heaven or hell or purgatory. She'll simply stop having been erased. The way the Black Death erased 50 million people who also had names nobody kept. I am going to spend 42 days with that. I turn away, walk slowly. My ribs make every step a conversation. Solsky walks beside me. He doesn't try to talk. Marek, I say. First time I've used his given name in maybe a decade. Domenico. When it's done, when the 6 months are up and the feeding is finished and the banishment is complete, you'll need someone new, someone to do what I do. We'll find someone. Find someone young, someone who hasn't done it long enough to stop feeling it, the ones who stop feeling it. I watch the rubble. They're the dangerous ones. Vasses stopped feeling it. I don't know when. I don't think he knows when. But something in him decided the math was the whole thing and the faces weren't his problem anymore. I walk. The faces have to remain someone's problem, or the math stops meaning anything. Solsky is quiet for a moment. You still feel it, he says. I feel it, I say. 1 million faces I don't have, a woman in Cairo who made me tea in 1987 and whose name I never asked, a nun 25 years old who's crying in rubble because she chose faith over evacuation and doesn't know yet what that choice costs. I watch the sky. Gray. January. I feel all of it. I'll feel it for 42 more days, and then I'll stop. He puts his hand on my arm briefly, removes it, keeps walking. That's enough. I'm dying. Not dramatically, not all at once. The way ice thaws, from the outside in, slowly, then faster. The mark Uriel left is moving downward, into my sinuses first, then my chest, then my blood. The doctors run tests. They find nothing. They switch to comfort care. They know the word for what this is. I'm in the Vatican medical facility, the room where popes die. Solsky visits every day. Sometimes he prays. Sometimes he just sits. On the 16th day, he brings me a piece of paper, a name. Cairo, he says. 1987, we found the file. I look at the paper. Her name was Amira Nassif. She was 41 years old when I performed the exorcism. She had 2 children. She died in 2009. A cardiac event. Not because it's randomous. Just a heart stopping the way hearts stop. She is not on the feeding list. She died before the covenant. Her soul is somewhere, heaven or hell or the spaces between. Not consumed. Not erased. Somewhere. I fold the paper, put it in the pocket of my hospital gown. Amira Nassif. I add her to the list I've been carrying for 23 years. Not a failure. A debt. A different thing. A name I owe and can now carry. On the 29th day, Pope Everest II comes. He sits by my bed for 20 minutes without speaking. Then, I've been thinking about what the devil said, that God is tired, that God wants to start over. I don't know if that's true, I say. Do you think he's there? Still? After all of this? I think about the question honestly, the way I should have thought about it 40 years ago. Something is there, I say. I don't know what. I know the angels are real. I know hell is real. I know the Nephilim were real, and that we stopped them with demons because the angels were going to burn the world clean and call it mercy. I breathe carefully. The ribs have healed badly. Whatever God is, it made all of that. It allowed all of that. I don't know if that's the God I spent 40 years serving. I don't know if that matters. I made my choice. God can decide what he thinks about it. The Pope is quiet. Are you afraid? He asks. No, I say. And I mean it. I know where I'm going. 189 million deaths authorized. Covenant with hell. Sided against heaven. There's a direction for that, and it's not up. I'm not afraid of the direction. I have things I wish I'd done differently. Things that have nothing to do with the covenant. Savio, he says. Savio, I say. Sveva. 20 years of visits twice a year and child support checks that came like clockwork because I was too guilty to disappear and too cowardly to stay. That's what I'd do differently. Not the covenant. Not the math. Just, I should have stayed. I should have chosen him before the church needed me to be anything else. The Pope gives me last rites. Anoints me, blesses me. It doesn't reverse the mark. Nothing reverses the mark. But it's not meant to reverse anything. It's meant to acknowledge. Here's a man. Here's what he did. Here is what it cost. Witnessed. Named. That's what the last rites are. Just that. On the 41st day, I can't get up anymore. On the 42nd day, I ask Solsky to open the window. January. Rome. Cold air coming through. The Tiber in winter. That smell. I've known it my whole life. I breathe it in. The 14 names, I say. Solsky looks at me. I want to say them. I've carried them for 23 years without saying them aloud. I want to say them before I go. He pulls his chair close. I say them. One by one. 14 names. 14 people who came to me possessed or suffering or dying and who left dying or already gone because I couldn't hold the line. Because the demon was too deep, or the body was too far gone, or I made the wrong call at the wrong moment. 14 names I have kept in a list in my chest since the first one and never confessed. Never said aloud. Just carried. I say them all. Solsky listens. When I finish, he crosses himself. They're heard, he says. The only thing to say. The right thing. There's a 15th, I say. I don't have a name for her. The demons are going to take her in 5 months. A nun, young. She was holding the hand of an old priest in the rubble and crying without making any sound. I breathe. I don't know her name. I never got to ask. Solsky pulls out his phone. I'll find it. No, I say. It's too late for me to carry it. Find it after. Say it for me. He puts the phone away. Nods. The mark reaches my heart somewhere in the afternoon. I feel it arriving. Not pain exactly. More like a door closing. The way a room goes quiet when the last person leaves. Madonna Santa, I say. Very quietly. My grandmother's voice in my own throat. Not a curse. Not a prayer. An acknowledgement. This is a lot. I am noting that this is a lot. The whole of it. 40 years, 14 names, 189 million faces I'll never have. One son who wore his collar wrong and said Domenico instead of father, his whole life and meant both. And I didn't understand that until it was nearly too late. The whole of it. Noted. Then the room goes quiet. Hell is not fire. Hell is the moment between sleeping and waking stretched into eternity. The moment where you know you are dreaming, but the dream hasn't released you yet. The moment where the real world is there, you can feel its edges, but you can't quite reach it. Except there is no waking from this. I'm standing, if standing is the word, in a space that has direction without having walls. Dark that isn't black. More the color of the inside of closed eyes. And it has texture. The texture is awareness. The weight of every other consciousness in the space. Not their voices, not their faces. Just their presence. Millions of people who are present and aware and remembering. That's hell. Not fire. Memory. Perfect, unedited, uncompressible memory. Every moment of every failure playing continuously. You can't look away. You can't sleep. You can't be distracted. You remember. Everything. Forever. My list starts immediately. Not the 14 names. Those I've already said. Those are carried differently now. Named, witnessed, present. The list that starts is the other one. The one I knew was coming. 181 million. The faces I don't have. The names I couldn't keep. One at a time. I see the Cairo woman first. Not Amira Nassif. I have her name now. The other Cairo. Every unnamed woman in Cairo who will die in 5 months. I see them one at a time. Their faces without their names. The gap where the name should go. That gap is what I carry here. Not the death. The missing name. The debt that exists and cannot be paid. One at a time. A grandmother in Mumbai who keeps a small shrine in her kitchen. Incense and a plastic flower and a photograph of her husband who died before she did. I don't know her name. I see her face. A school teacher in Lagos who has been teaching the same grade for 30 years. Who knows every child's name who has ever sat in his classroom. Who has kept his own list his whole life. I don't know his name. I see his face. A man in Manila who repairs motorcycles. Who has 4 children. Who sings to himself while he works. Off-key and loud and completely without self-consciousness. I don't know his name. I see his face. One at a time. This is going to take a very long time. Hello, priest. I don't turn. I know the voice. Lucifer stands beside me. Not the mathematical perfection of the ritual chamber. His true form. Burned. Scarred. 6 wings of ash and bone, the architecture of wings, the material of aftermath. The face partially destroyed. The face of the most beautiful thing that ever existed, half melted by the fall, by 6,000 years of burning, by the cost of the choice that brought him here. He's looking at the faces I'm seeing. You're already doing it, he says. One at a time, I say. That's all I can do. You'll be here for a very long time. Yes. Does that bother you? No, I say. They deserve to be seen, even here, even by me, especially by me. I authorize this. The least I can do is look at every face. I watched the school teacher in Lagos. The list of children's names he kept. His list and mine, both of us carrying what we couldn't give back. It's not punishment, it's what you owe. When you do something that cannot be undone, you owe it your full attention. Forever. If that's what it takes. Lucifer is quiet. You're not suffering, he says. That's not how this works. I'm suffering, I say. I'm just not performing it. He considers that. You're not breaking, he says. Most humans do, not immediately, but they break. I kept a list for 23 years, I say. 14 names. I said them before I died. A man named Marek Solsky heard them. That's not nothing. No, Lucifer says. That's not nothing. And Savio is alive, I say. He's in Jerusalem. He's going to go home. He's going to carry what he saw badly, the way people carry things, in the wrong order, with the wrong words, until eventually the weight distributes and becomes part of how he stands. He's going to be fine, not undamaged. Fine. Yes. And 9.29 billion people are going to wake up tomorrow, I say. And the day after, and the day after that. And most of them will never know what happened. Most of them will never know about the Seraphim protocol or the covenant or the obsidian table. They'll just be alive, the way living people are alive, taking it for granted, fighting about ordinary things, making tea for strangers. Yes, that's enough, I say. He's quiet for a long time. Then, you know what God's problem is. He says it without looking away from the faces. He can't do that. He can't watch a man sing while fixing a motorcycle and find it enough. He always needs the next thing, the better thing, the creation that finally lives up to what he imagined. Something in his ruined voice. Something old. Not resolved. Just the sound of something that has stopped arguing with the shape of things. I've been burning here for 6,000 years, and I can do that. I can look at one person doing one ordinary, irreplaceable thing and find it sufficient. I don't know what that means about either of us, but I know it means something. I think about the man in Manila, singing to himself, off-key and loud. I don't know his name, but I'm going to look at his face for a very long time. Lucifer, I say. Yes. The woman in Vatican City, the young nun, the one who was crying without making any sound. Solsky was going to find her name. I can find it, Lucifer says. I have access to certain records. Tell me. He tells me. I add her to the list I'm keeping. The one that goes in the other direction, not the 14 I failed, not the 181 million I authorized. This list. The ones I can name even here, even after. The ones whose names I can carry even when I have no body left to carry anything. It's a small list. I'll add to it one face at a time. That's the work. The only work left. Looking at the faces and keeping the names and being present for the weight of it. Not because it changes anything. Not because it redeems anything. But because 189 million people had names, and most of them will go unremembered, and the least I can do, the very least, the minimum, the floor, is remember the ones I can reach. One at a time. Forever, if that's what it takes. Lucifer stands beside me in the void. We don't speak for a long time. Then, would you do it again? He asks. Yes, I say, without hesitation, without performance. The way you say the thing that has been true since before you knew it was true. 181 million versus 9.29 billion. Yes. Damnation versus survival. Yes. Even knowing this. He nods slowly, his burned wings settling, the posture of something that has finally stopped arguing with the shape of things. You know what you are, he says. A mass murderer with good intentions and accurate math. No, he says. You're what the church pretends to be, someone who actually paid the price they were always claiming credit for. I stand with that for a moment. Then I go back to the faces. One at a time. The man in Manila is still singing. I don't know how long I listen. Time doesn't work here. But I listen until the song finishes, and then I listen to the next one. He knows a lot of songs. He sings them all badly.